I'm Kate with the City of Centerville here at Woodburn Library with Georgia Mergler. You walk into the library, you notice at least three things right away. A lot of books, I would hope, a lot of light, and a lot of beautiful artwork. Yes. And we want to talk a little bit more about that today. Can you kind of walk us through some of what you have adorning the walls here?
Absolutely. Well, when we renovated the building, we wanted to stay true to the mid-century design of the building because it's one of the few Woody Garber buildings left in the United States, period. A lot of his buildings have been demolished. And so a lot of what you see in the building is mid-century modern contemporary artwork. And we engaged the local art community to submit proposals for works of art to adorn the building. And the great part about this is that the library was renovated with money that we had saved over the years. We didn't have to ask for any new money from the community, but all the artwork and all the extras you see in the library were funded by private endowments or private donations. So we have 4 works of art. The first you see when you walk in is this beautiful freeform paper sculpture.
I love this.
It's called Blueprint. And the fun part about this that most people don't know unless you really, really look at it closely is that it is made up of cut and crafted paper, but it has pieces of blueprint in the work itself from the original 1965 Woody Garber design of the Woodburn Library, which was a bank at that point. It was a Hunter Savings and Loan. And then the 2018 renovation blueprints from LWC Incorporated. So it kind of encapsulates that kind of transformation of the library from its origins until modern day.
It fills so much space. It looks so beautiful with the color.
Right. It's done by an artist whose name is Samantha Parker Salazar, and she has ties to the local community. That was one of the caveats of our board of trustees. All the artists had to have ties to the Miami Valley. Mm-hmm. And then the other 2 works, as you kind of traverse around the library past the large print, is the one standing behind us right now. This is called A Snake and a Mouse in the Leaves. And you can see the snake easily, but we always challenge people to find the mouse. And this was done by a local artist named David Corns, who's actually a 2007 graduate of Centerville High School. And the snake is supposed to sort of represent the natural elements of Centerville. You know, we have this wonderful park district, and so he wanted to capture that. And the geometric patterns sort of reinforce that mid-century modern feel. The third piece of art is an inkjet collage. It's done by Ronald Geibert. It's called My Library A to Z, all the things that you can find in a library. And so people kind of find this one to be a puzzle because it has sort of these columns and rows of pictures that are close up from books. And people always wonder, well, does this row mean something when I look at it all together? And really it's subjective, just like any piece of artwork. You can take whatever meaning you want from it. And then the last piece of artwork is in our quiet reading room. And this is a piece by Amy Kohler Anderson, and it's called Stonewall. It's a triptych, so 3 canvas pieces that have these stones. They're colorful stones, which are supposed to represent, as you might guess,
the stones.
The historic stone buildings in Centerville, Washington Township. So that's really, really nice. So those are the 4 pieces of art. But we also had, when we opened the building, we had a fundraiser gala. And the money raised from that event went to purchase an interactive children's wall that's in the children's room at Woodburn Library.
And really unique and special. I've never seen anything like this.
Right, right. Well, if you really need to study this to get a real appreciation for it, because the whole point of it, which for kids it's just fun, but for adults, if you look at it closely, it has all kinds of things that reinforce early learning concepts like the alphabet or counting or things found in nature. So it's really a really interesting piece, and that was done by the Burgeon Group. They create all kinds of things for libraries, so that was really nice. And then outside, we have a children's garden. And at the children's garden, there are sunscreens. They're only up during the more temperate months. Obviously, we don't keep them up in Ohio winters. And those sunscreens were funded in part by the Centerville Noon Optimists, who celebrated their 25-year anniversary, and they were giving away grants to the library and other organizations, and so that funded those sunscreens. So we have lots of really great stuff. Probably the most iconic piece of artwork on the building, though, is actually attached to the building. And that would be the sunscreen that you see as you drive along State Route 48.
And that's something you were able to modernize and keep.
Right. We got some money from the Centerville Landmark Foundation to do an assessment of that, because first we wanted to make sure before we renovated it that it was structurally sound, that it wasn't going to fall off the building. But it was made of Corten steel, which was really kind of a new up-and-coming material when the building was originally built in the 1960s. And it's designed to weather and corrode over time, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. So we contracted the services of a conservation group who came in, they sandblasted all the corrosion on it, they took chips of paint samples so they could exactly match the colors of paint that were used originally, and then they restored the whole thing. And so the money for that restoration, because that was a little bit of a pricier project, as well as the artwork in the building, came from the Woodburn Library Arts Endowment, which was the result of two very, very, very generous local philanthropists, Bill and Dottie Yeck. And you probably hear their names around a lot in the community. So that has been really a real treasure, that sunscreen. That was a real hallmark of the building that we didn't want to lose. And so we're really proud that we were able to restore it. And it kind of glistens at night like a little jewel. So,
do you just love walking into this building?
I do.
I mean, you get to work here every day and there's so much that's so beautiful.
I know, and there's so many intentional design elements that people don't know unless they kind of get the full-fledged tour, because the sunscreen was designed by an Italian furniture maker. His name was Harry Bertoia. Well, he made furniture called the Bertoia bird chairs. Well, there's some of the chairs that you see in the library. So if you come in the library and you see kind of these tulip-shaped chairs that have this webbed-looking background, those are his chairs. So it kind of all ties together.
That's really neat. I think people think of the library as maybe, or used to think of it as a passive experience, and it is not anymore.
No.
This is the new library.
Yeah, we really wanted to create a space that was inviting and encourage people to come and sit and stay a while. But we also spared no expense in terms of making room for the collections, because we know that that's why people come to the library. They come to browse, they come to borrow, but they also come to gather. So we created more spaces for that to happen. So we're really proud of the final result.
Georgia Mergler, thank you so much for walking us through the artwork here. It is truly a beautiful experience just to be here. It lightens the mood with all the natural light, and the artwork is wonderful too. Thank you so much. Come check it out for yourself here at Woodburn Library.